What's up, everybody? I wanted today to share a little behind the writing of my song, The Path, from the new EP. It's really funny. Songwriting to me is the most surefire way that I can thoroughly express what's going on inside and what I'm thinking and wrestling through. I am a terrible journaler, and even externally processing, I'm working and getting better at that. The songwriting is like my best bet. So talking about my songs, we'll see how this goes. I think that the objective for us as Christians, or even the destiny for us as Christians, is to become as much like Jesus as we possibly can in this life. I think for us to walk the straight and narrow path that we're called to, that requires us to open ourselves up willfully to the shears of God, to be pruned, to allow God's refining fire to work in us and burn away what need be burnt in our life. And that is a very painful and difficult decision at times, to take that up as a way of life. But I've learned something about myself, and I think it's just people in general as well. Like, if I'm on a path forward, if I'm walking towards something, there's nothing that will motivate me to change my path unless an obstacle presents itself. It's only then that I encounter an obstacle that I will reassess and think of another way around. And that is true in our habits, our lifestyles, our choices, the way we live. If my patterns of behavior aren't too obstructive to what's around me, there's really nothing that's going to motivate me to reassess my decisions and if I should change or alter anything. And I've been kind of grieved at accepting this about myself. Like, let's say when one enters into a marital relationship, or you have a relationship with a significant other, you might think to clean yourself up a little bit more, because the price of making a bad choice goes up when you're close to somebody. And yeah, those are good motivations, but I found that I wasn't really doing good for goodness sake. I didn't want just the fact that my behaviors made a mess for me to wake up and want to change something about my behaviors and get better and live better. And man, it was a grieving time to accept that, and the path really is a call to pray that dangerous prayer to God, to say, God, like, transform me, work in me, no matter what the cost. If that means carving away things, as painful as that might be, that parts of me has to die, like, I'm willing to go through that process continually to become more and more like you. That's what this life is about. Me to undertake the name as a Christian, like, that's what I signed up to do, That's really at the heart of this song. And there's a decent amount of provocative language, let's say, more so than other songs that I've written, and that's kind of reinforcing, let's say, the passion behind this, to not have the cross of Christ to be a crutch for you. Man, like, I never want the gift of salvation to demotivate me from living better here on earth. Like, yeah, Christ purchased my eternal freedom, but let that not demotivate me to want to live like him and emulate Christ, just because I know when when I kick the can, I'm going to heaven. Like, you know, that kind of thing. It's that kind of thought. It's His grace should more equip and enable us to become more and more like Jesus continually, instead of us using that as a means of, well, it's all good. I think it's clear what I'm kind of going for, and I use that same kind of language in the bridge of the song of, well, at least our God won't send a flood. It's like the world got so corrupt to the point where there was this intervention of this flood coming. It's a wild story, but I think that if we interpret that story in a particular way, it's like the promise of him not destroying the world in that way again. It's like, oh, cool, we're off the hook. And I'm not putting words in the mouth of anybody, let's say, but that's kind of the thought that I was on. And yeah, that's a bit about my heart behind that, wanting to emulate Christ. And the whole album really is centered around that. And this song was the first that I wrote of all these batches of songs that a lot of them you haven't heard yet. But man, the path, this song really kind of set the course for me of really what I wanted to dive into. And when I share more about Uncreated Light and a lot of the art and imagery and theologians and things behind a lot of the other writing, I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It's going to be real exciting. But thank you for taking the time to hear me out. It's a beautiful song, and I think that, well, I'm really proud of it, and I think the music to me captured the striving and like the strain and intensity behind like my heart of God, I'm serious about this. I just, there's kind of a hauntingness to it to me, that it's a terrible undertaking, let's say, the weight of wanting to become more like Jesus. It's a high calling, and it's one that I'll spend the rest of my life trying to do. And I think the music helped capture some of the weight of that, let's say, that I'm very proud of. So, all right, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you later.